Chair, while they're setting up, might I just give a brief director's report?
Yeah.
Which flows right into the presentation. March is Problem Gambling Awareness Month, and we did have our second meeting of the Disordered Gambling Advisory Work Group just this last week. I think it was Tuesday. So just to give you an update on that work group's activity, we talked about the GRIT Act. We received an update on that. It's most likely not going to pass this legislative session, but the National Council on Problem Gambling has dedicated a page on their website to the GRIT Act, so various organizations can show their support. And so at the next meeting, I can present that to you if you want, and you can decide if you want to add your letter of support to that website moving forward, if that is something that you're interested in. Yes.
Madam Chair. With regard to the GRIT Act, and I see we have Representative Robertson. Are you still here?
I am.
My old friend, how are you doing?
Very well, thank you.
Yes. So this GRIT Act is a really well thought out list of recommendations for states to consider regarding problem gambling. And I'm wondering if you might just consider the idea of taking a hard, long look at it to see if maybe the House would consider passing a resolution supporting it. I wondered if you would take a look at it.
Absolutely, I'll certainly do that, and I'll get back to you, Madam.
I think that if the state did that, it would be really powerful, powerful for this organization, and probably you'd get every other state in the nation to follow suit, I would imagine. Thank you.
You bet.
And I'll ask Senator Conway if he shows up, if he'd consider mirroring you over in the Senate, if you want.
Yeah, absolutely. We do a lot of work together, so that would be great.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
So I'll go ahead and get that information out to our ex officios as well then. Then Roxanne Peterson, the program manager for the state's program on problem gambling, provided updates, and not to get into too much of what she's most likely going to share in just a few minutes, but did state that Medicaid is now covering problem gambling treatment in the state, as she's mentioned before. But just for awareness, this frees up monies provided by the state problem gambling program, so that certified program managers, certified gambling agencies can use the state problem gambling program monies to provide more services to individuals, and also to certify more treatment providers in the underserved areas that were pointed out in the problem gambling task force's recommendations. And so some agencies or treatment providers are reporting moving about 20 to 50% of their participants to the Medicaid coverage. So that is freeing up substantial amounts of monies for further use. And so I'm quite impressed by that number. There are still some gaps that need to be addressed, such as in this new program, such as the sole providers are not able to use the Medicaid coverage. And then there's not a behavioral specialist, but there's something to do with case management that I'm sure that Roxanne will get into more detail about as well. The state problem gambling program has increased their rate for reimbursement. It's first time, sounds like, ever. Increases for providers went up, for some services went up anywhere from 25 to 56%, depending on the service, which helps bring rates closer to market conditions, except depending on the geographical locations. The state program is also now part of a statewide prevention consortium with 6 other state agencies here in Washington. And so the Healthcare Authority will be participating in future statewide prevention plans, and is also working with the state workforce development to identify or to work with those high risk groups to find certified gambling counselors and find more certified gambling agencies, again, especially in those underserved areas. The goal is to try to have providers within 1 hour of residents within the state of Washington. And Evergreen Council of Problem Gambling is offering scholarships to help with addressing the workforce development needs to bring more certified gambling counselors and get more certified gambling agencies on board in the state. The advisory work group agreed to keep the National Council of Legislators of Gambling States Responsible Gaming Resolution at the forefront of their minds with the work that the advisory group does. And that was based on your recommendations. And so that was a step forward. There was information that was shared. The National Council has a new phone number that you'll see in their publications. They have purchased the rights for a period of time for that number. The state also has a number, which is also outlined in our RCW 946071 has that state number in it. So the numbers are different. The state number is different than the national number. And what I have gathered from Evergreen Council and from the members of the advisory work group is they want to make sure that this national number is going to be in existence for a period of time before they decide to adopt that national number. Because of all of the time and expense to change materials if we were to adopt it. And then once they go to renew that national number, if for some reason they lose it, that would cause some setbacks. And then lastly, the work group has developed a tracking mechanism to track the progress or address challenges for all of us who are trying to achieve the Problem Gambling Task Force's recommendations that were outlined in the final report. So this way we'll have a tracking mechanism and be able to show the work that each of these agencies and groups are implementing in order to accomplish the recommended outcomes. And with that, that's all I have.
Question. Yes. Thank you, Madam Chair. So my question, it's a rhetorical question, but if the rates have increased by, you said from 25, this is provider rates. If they've increased from between 25 and 50% is what you said? 56%?
56% is what I had.
I mean, I know that those people that do that work need to be paid well, and I don't think they are paid particularly well, but it really begs the question, the extent to which that increase will affect our desire, our hope, our vision for providing more treatment opportunities. And I don't know if someone could address that today or not, but.
And maybe I should clarify just to make sure. The state's problem gambling program increased their reimbursement rates by 25 to 56%.
Oh,
to providers.
oh, thank you for clarifying.
Yeah.
Okay, then I was not understanding.
Sorry about that.
But
So
nevertheless, it still takes that much more out of the state program, which I think that you can't criticize that way of spending the money. I'm just thinking out loud, but still it makes me wonder the extent to which the state could expand its treatment and prevention program. Rhetorical question, hopefully somewhere along the line we can get it answered. Yeah, thank you.
So, and if I can follow up on that, I thought I heard you say there was a pretty dramatic shift of folks into Medicaid,
yes,
which would reduce the amount of the state, what we have historically used for this treatment, right?
so yes, there's a shift. Some treatment providers are reporting moving 20 to 50% of their participants of the program to Medicaid coverage, but they're using then that gap to either provide more services,
right,
and or to seek new certified treatment providers, because there is a vast need, particularly in certain areas of underserved communities. So they're using that to expand their services.
And that's, are we fully implemented to the 0.26? And I don't know whether
July
coming up.
24, it goes up to the 0.26.
Okay,
July
so
1st, 24.
essentially double the resources over a few years. We're now getting people into Medicaid, so we must have a much broader, and I'm sure the presentation may go into this a little bit, but seems pretty easy. It's a lot of work, a lot of work,
Yeah,
a lot of work that's gone into that.
Things have improved tremendously with the state.